Jill Menza here, and I am back with another in the beginner series. Again, I have the Strathmore 300. The reason I've chosen the Strathmore 300 is it's down the middle. It's not a cotton paper. It's not the cheapest paper. It's down the middle. And then, of course, I have the 7 colors: ultramarine blue, lemon yellow, alizarin crimson, light red, raw sienna, burnt umber, and Payne's gray. This light red is like a Winsor & Newton type color. You can find it. It's almost like a burnt sienna-ish kind of color. Don't really use it a whole lot. This is from Ron Ranson's setup. You know, he would come up with the 7 colors. By the way, I'm one of the admins over at the Ron Ranson group on Facebook, so come on over and check us out if you like this style of painting with the big brush. Today I have the big bucket out with 3 chambers of water from the dirtiest to the cleanest, and I also have my towel for drying, and I'm going to put it down here. Also have for scraping, I have a plastic palette, and you can also have a paper towel handy, which I don't have right here. That's okay, but you should have one. You should have some paper towels handy. And I also have a spray bottle, which is a continuous spray bottle. It's a very fine mist. Regular spray bottles tend to spatter and whatnot. So let's go ahead. The first thing we're going to do is the sky. And I'm going to spray the paper down with this. And then I'm going to take, now if you notice, this hake now has, it's so full of water. If I squeeze it, a lot of water comes out. That's where the towel comes in. So you take your towel and you can pat it off so that you have just enough on there to, when you go to get your colors out, like so. And these are fresher today because I filled them. But if I take, let's wash this off, and let's wash the brush again. Got to keep a clean palette. And I just washed my brush out. If I want it even cleaner, I'll go to the second chamber. And then I will dab it into the brush, and now I have a hake that's wet, but it's not sopping wet. Take a little bit of that blue. Now here's the blue. I hope that's blue. Oh, my palette is upside down. That is Payne's gray. This is the blue. Okay, here's the blue. Mix it with a little Payne's gray, which is perfectly fine. We're good. We're okay with that. And again, I'm looking for a clean space on the palette. Now, if you use blue like this, it's almost too blue. You can do it. I like to add a little bit of red or, you know, something along those lines. Now, this is wet. So notice when we add, look at how much water's there. So if you take a dry brush, you can kind of, if there's too much water on there, you can actually bring that down. And this is also good for blending. Let's go ahead and do that again now. We'll make some marks with this brush, wherever you think clouds might be. And they get smaller as you get down to the bottom. Now, if you're like me and you like to have a little bit of water in here, you can have the water in here. And you know, I said I was going to do it last video. I didn't. But one of the things we learned from Ron Ranson was to take the this raw sienna color, and you wet your paper down with it. It's just a very light coating. It gives a little bit of light in the sky. You can do it after the effect, and nothing is you know, like perfect. Like, you don't have to worry about being perfect. You just, while it's wet, this is the time when you can work. But once it dries, then you're going to start messing things up. So you want to do this while it's wet. So I'm taking that dry brush because I forgot to put that in, and I wanted to. Get rid of some of those hard edges. And there we have a sky. And if you have a paper towel, let's get one. I got one over here. If you have a kitchen roll paper towel and you want to blot a little bit out while it's wet, this is a good time to do that. Some people don't like this. If you don't do it. And you can create little areas of light. This is called lifting. if you've not done watercolor before. If you lift too much, you're going to lose a lot of your color. So this would be, you know, you have the lifting going on there. And then again, you could do what I said in the previous video. If you have a dry brush, this is a generic-y type hake, you can actually lightly blend. Look at, blend that down. You can't do this on every paper, but if I couldn't do it on this paper, I probably wouldn't use the paper. Now, what shall we put in here? A lot of times people like mountains, they like all kinds of things. They like greenery, or maybe we'll have like greenery like, oh, I'm trying to think of something. Let's say you wanted to have, and this is our horizon line, obviously. So if we wanted to have, let's make this kind of a rivery type thing. And we wanted to take, and we'll make some greens. A little Payne's gray in there. And if you don't want to contaminate your yellow, do that. Someone asked me about that one time. How do you keep from contaminating your yellow? Well, you can dip in like that. You know, we're taking, this is going to be the greenery. So if we had some water coming through here, let's make this come through here like this, and down over here. And look at now, you already have the water in there. You don't even have to put it in there. If you do want to put it in and you have a clean, dry brush, you can lift some back out. You can use this to drag some paint around. You can use the dry brush to create textures. So those are things that you can do. Now I've washed these brushes out. So let's go to the smaller hake brush. I like a medium and a large. If you're doing a lot of sketchbook stuff, use a small hake. It's fine. Let's go ahead and we're gonna just kind of take a darker color. This is Payne's gray and what I had on the board here. And we're gonna strengthen up the land here. And then you can go back to that dry brush if you want to. You can pull that down. Drag that across. A very light touch there, by the way. And if you blot out a little too much of the, like if I want to open this back up again, I'll use a wet brush and I'll open this area back up again. Okay, so we're gonna leave that alone for now. Now, we should probably have some trees or something in the background. In the meantime, I'm gonna grab some of this yellow. I just want to introduce some yellow into this land here. Just a green that, just to create, I like to use a two-tone effect in there. And then another thing, I'm not a fan of what's happening right here. I'm just gonna blot some of this back out again with using the tissue, just to show you can do that. And then as this is drying too, another thing is, let's scrape in some little rocks. This helps break things up for me and creates a natural effect. Plus I love doing it. And then we come back with the brush, with that dark color there, and anchor. A lot of people don't anchor their rocks down, I see, when they're doing it. And you've got to put something underneath, otherwise they look like you're just hanging there. They look kind of odd. So we have this little thing going on. This is where we would take, and on a big sheet like this, the big brush is better. So if we wanted to make some foliage in here, so there'd be some, let's grab some blue, Payne's gray, and again, some yellow there. Now I'm set up for foliage mode on the brush, where I can actually create trees and turn it sideways. Look at the foliage that I can create. These are almost like pine trees instantaneously. Maybe we'll put some. If you want to spend time, that's the other thing. If you want to spend time making these look perfect, go ahead. It's up to you. I have a few minutes to do in a video to show you what you can do. Go ahead and get some more of that blue and Payne's gray. And you can just kind of drag that sideways. Look at the, just using the corner of the brush. And we could make these look, flatten the brush out so you get it sideways. When they're newer, they hold their chisel edge a little better. And this guy is terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. Do you know what you're doing? If you pick up a brush and you paint and you make some fantastic things and you say, you know, this Joe Menza guy, he encouraged me to pick up a brush and you're great. That's all I need to know. I do this for therapeutic, hobby, that kind of thing. Look at that. You know, we can even bring, I hate to have sometimes on the same plane. So if we bring these trees, we just bring these all the way down. Look at this. Bring them all the way down so they're much lower on the panel there. And maybe we'll put some things back in over here just to create some foliage there. Now when your stuff dries, it'll dry back a little bit. Dries a little bit flatter. What I like to do is I like to take a little, sometimes I take a little white and I cheat, but you could take a little bit of this yellow. We'll do the yellow. I also really like this color called Buff Titanium. We'll do that later as we get more and more through. But add this into here when it dries. Oh, this guy really stinks. Okay. So, I mean, you could stop here. You could take your little brush if you want to, and hold this like a pencil, huh? I usually use a pen, but it's beginners, so I want to show you a couple of birds there. And then while you have some paint on your little liner brush, this is a good time to add in, you know, all kinds of things. And then we'll show you, let's do this. This is sticks for these trees, and then come back with your brush and just kind of cover a little of it. I covered too much. By the way, the end of your brush, another trick, great scraper. Great scraper. You could scrape all kinds of little things. Look at, you could scrape all kinds of little marks in there. It's just crazy. You could scrape in birch trees. You could do all kinds of things with the end of that brush. Ron Ranson used to scrape in birch trees. And I'm just going to anchor this stuff in here, just so you have some little things there. And then that, I mean, you could leave it like this. This is very, very basic here. A lot of greens, a lot of things going on with this. If you're not happy with something, this is where you like would tend to like say, okay, I'm going to fuss a little bit here, which you wouldn't say that to yourself, but you'll know it when it's happening. And you'll say, I want this tree to be, oh, and this tree needs a little, and this, and before you know it, you ruin the whole painting. But there are ways to fix things that are problematic like that. So we'll go ahead and let's move this over, zoom out a hair, and we will take our mat. Man, this is still pretty wet. I mean, I hate to lay this on here. I'll hold it over the top a little bit. And there we have a wonderful, wonderful painting. Let's let it dry. I'll come back. Don't forget to sign it, by the way. Sign it in the corner. And I will be back shortly, and I'll put it on when it dries.